Yeah, I mean, what you're paying $1,200 a month for a 2024 Kia Forte at 29%.
The big number is $627,528.29.
So the total I spent on DoorDash in 2024 was $6,630.92.
Okay, so today we're going to be watching people make some pretty poor financial decisions, so hopefully you don't follow in the same footsteps. I know many people like to watch this for entertainment, but I think one of the best things about the internet and social media, at least in my opinion, is the amount of advice you could get from anybody on the planet and hopefully avoid a lot of the mistakes that other people have made, saving you a lot of time and money in your life. We have a ton of different examples and experiences to go over along with some of your comments from previous videos, so if you want to be featured in a future video, leave it in the comments down below. Now, I don't want to make this video too long, so we're just going to jump right into it.
So my credit score is about 550. Like I've been working on establishing it because I didn't really know much about credit until recently, so I didn't necessarily have the best score when I went to inquire about the car. So getting the car kind of taught me better ways to build my credit. I make about 32 a month, something like that.
So you see how this car, I mean, obviously you know, but it's more than a third of your income is going to this car. So I'm sure it's
Right, yeah.
weighing down on you a lot. Yeah, I mean, what you're paying $1,200 a month for a 2024 Kia Forte at 29%. That's hefty.
Yeah,
So
it is fair.
This is probably one of the worst cases that I have heard so far. $1,200 a month on a Kia Forte. Nothing special about the car. What is it, a compact? So it's basically like a Civic. $819 a month plus $450 a month for insurance at almost 30%. That's credit card numbers. That's bad credit card numbers. With a 550 credit and had no idea what they were really doing before going into this deal, which is why I think financial literacy is so important in today's world. It's not like they showed up to the Mercedes dealership and got an E-Class and, shocker, it's a lot of money. This is supposed to be just a normal economy car. I hope more and more young people start seeing these types of clips, even though I know it brings in the drama. But I mean, if you could avoid this type of mistake, especially early age, you could be way ahead of the 8 ball. I mean, how much money is she losing on a Kia? We have a comment from one of you guys. My brother inherited over $90,000 when he turned 21. He never had any of that kind of money and he blew it in less than a year. Partying mostly. Absolutely insane. I was so disappointed. I hope that he at least kept some of it, but nope, it's completely gone. 2 years later, my mom remortgaged the house and took $110,000 out for renovations. They did not do any renovations. They blew the money too. Absolutely mind-blowing. I do remember seeing something similar on this channel, taking out HELOCs to go on vacation. I don't know if that's exactly what they did, but they didn't put these 6 figures into renovations. $90,000 is a down payment on even the overpriced houses right now. What is it, almost $430,000 on average for the house? And it has gone in a year from partying. Wow.
I'm about to make myself cry. Today I'm going to calculate how much money I've spent on DoorDash in 2024. If I have to guess, I'm going to say 3,000, but I could be like way off. Girl, you weren't even close. Let's just say that I ordered DoorDash like multiple times a week. Sometimes I even use it to like grocery shop. So this should be interesting. And we are starting strong on January 1st with some French toast. So let me get started on calculating this. All right, I'm finished. And boy, was I off. So the total I spent on DoorDash in 2024 was $6,630.92. That's $127 a week or $552 a month. That's so bad. Like, I'm literally in shock. And that doesn't account for the $100 I paid over the year for the Dash Pass. So yeah, I'm canceling my Dash Pass. If you don't believe me, here you go. And now I'm going to work on my 2025 savings goals and stuff like that. I also calculated how much debt I have, and that'll be a whole nother video.
Okay, so we have a couple of things to go over. $6,600 in a year for DoorDash. I mean, that's pretty similar to a comment, I think, in the last video of the series, where somebody spent, I believe, $7,000 on Starbucks, but you don't really know it because it's incremental payments, right? $5, $10, $20 at a time, but you just do it so often and you stop thinking about it that it turns into almost $7,000 a year. I don't know what the Dash Pass was. It seems like some sort of subscription too that was also $100, but we could look at a couple of the comments. I added up my Amazon purchases. I am out of control. Same thing there, probably a bit more expensive. I mean, I don't know. Part of Amazon is just kind of turned into Temu, very cheap crap as well, but DoorDash should do a wrap like Spotify, and I guarantee I know why they wouldn't do it, because then more people would realize, hey, I spent thousands of dollars on DoorDash, even though I thought, maybe it was half. She thought it was like 3,000, more than double at the end of the day. In the comments of my last video, I asked you guys what your worst financial decisions were, so we're going to go through a couple of them. There were a ton of comments. Getting a bachelor's degree, and that's not the only time we're going to see it in this video. Many people have realized that their degrees are basically worthless. Even if they got something in a worthwhile field, the job market is in shambles. So the possible 5 or 6 figures worth of debt that you're soon actually going to have to start paying back has not landed most people a job to start paying for a normal life. I blew $6,000 on Survey Monkey options. I don't options trade anymore. I don't know what Survey Monkey options are, but I do know what options trading is. A very, very dangerous game. I mean, $6,000 could be vaporized like that. Basically the same way if you see a meme coin get rug pulled and within seconds all the money is gone. Same exact thing could happen with options trading. Dating in general, BMWs, helping friends financially. First time in a nightclub, didn't know do you want a table meant. That was a quick $1,200 gone. Okay then. When I was in my 20s, spent all of my spare cash on Camaros and stereo equipment when I should have bought real estate instead. I'd probably be a pretty wealthy person now, honestly. Started smoking in my 20s. I want to travel back in time and slap me in the face, let alone the obvious health issues that you're going to have. I'm pretty sure cigarettes are very expensive now, on top of all the taxes because it's unhealthy. But the next clip is from a YouTuber that you might have seen before. I remember watching him as a kid a long time ago.
Let's see how I became broke. About a year ago, I was in pretty heavy water. I think I was about 50 grand, 40 or 50 grand in debt. How I got there was I partied too much and I got lazy and less focused and didn't upload as much. But that's the short answer. Or didn't manage my money wisely. I made about $250,000 in 2018 and about $200,000 in 2019. I traveled a lot. I went to Russia, Japan, all the while paying $3,600 a month for this rent in LA, which that was the big mistake there. That was just a dumb flex, weird flex. I just threw parties, and so I had like 10 grand coming in a month every month, and I just for hardly doing anything, and YouTube kind of just spoiled me, and I don't know. I guess I thought it would last forever. But it started to go down and down and down, and I was partying more and more and more and whatever, and there you have it. Another big thing is taxes. I always like forget to save money for the taxes, and then it's like boom, you owe 40 grand. It's like, oh. And so then I'll put it on a credit card or something, and then that'll start snowball rolling. Yeah, it's just being dumb. Like, I know it's my fault.
So if you don't know who this is Andrew Hales. He had a channel where he'd go out in public and be kind of awkward to people. Like it was funny, kind of like prank channels, but not nearly as cringe as what you'd probably think a prank channel is now. And he gained a ton of popularity. Like he said, $250,000, $200,000 a year, but he started partying, living that lifestyle, the lifestyle creep. I mean, $3,600 a month in LA. I guess that might not be too bad for rent in LA overall, but still wildly expensive. And honestly, the popularity and the views don't last forever. It's very rare that you'll see somebody like PewDiePie or something who's been around for more than a decade and still rakes in, I mean, millions of views. We could look at a couple of the comments. If he locked in, he would have been making 7 figures easily. Honestly, I don't doubt that comment because he wasn't over the top, Mr. Beast crazy and being annoying and like basically assaulting people as content like a whole bunch of prank channels are. He was more laid back, funny, and relatable, and it just kind of petered out because he wasn't disciplined enough. But we have another comment from one of you guys. The worst financial decision I made was getting addicted to painkillers after a surgery. I was making 6 figures a year and then had negative $2,000 in my checkings account and 6 payday loans at one time. Thankfully, I've been clean for 8 years now and live debt free. That's crazy. I know that this is a different situation than just choosing to do hard drugs because, the painkillers after a surgery are probably needed, and we could go into the rabbit hole of big pharma and just pushing pills on people, yada yada, but this kind of stuff can completely derail your life.
I'd spend 5-6K on designer clothes. I'd spend 8-9K on a holiday. I'd spend 12-13K on cars, all in the name of looking like I was like gone. If I use that same money to invest aggressively into assets, properties, whatever the case may be, like it's night and day. You would use the money that you generate from that to pay for the nice things. And that's one thing that a lot of rich people, that's what they have. We use our income to spend money on these things. They use their passive income. So they use their income to invest in assets, and then they use the money that they make from those assets to pay for the nice things. But we have it inverted, and I don't know if I did a good job of explaining that, but that was one of my biggest things. I would look at rich people, yeah, the designer, da da.
And I know this is one of the biggest problems for that age range. He was talking about early 20s, anywhere. Even in your teens now, you could be making tons of money because of the internet. I feel like if I was in the same position, I probably would have done the same thing. I didn't really start taking finances seriously until maybe around 21, 22 years old. My game plan when I graduated from high school was that I was going to become a professional soccer player, from community college, then going to actual college, and then playing professionally. And I was just going to make millions of dollars, and then that was going to be it. I was going to be rich and famous or whatever. And you could clearly see how that worked out. But for anybody who does get lucky enough and start making a lot of money very quickly, especially when they're young, the lifestyle creep or wanting to look like a rich celebrity and having all of these cars or houses or whatever could destroy you. We could look at a couple of comments. $9,000 on holiday. Where are you going? Honestly, I feel like you could probably spend way more money than $9,000 for a vacation. Either way, still crazy. Lifestyle inflation is the biggest setback to success, called consumerism. I mean, so much of this we've gone over on this channel. We have another comment from one of you guys. My bad financial decision is using Affirm and Klarna to buy things I can't afford to make me feel happy. Very dangerous game there because it's split up into payments, making it look like it's less than it actually is. And if you're just doing it to make yourself feel happy, get that dopamine hit, odds are before you could even pay off the first item, you want something new to feel good again. Here we have one that I guess is becoming more common. I'm seeing more and more clips of this exact scenario.
Pokemon! Pokemon cards! You need to fix your car! You need to fix your car! You're worried about Pokemon cards! No, you...
It almost sounds like a joke because in the end it's still Pokemon. I know that the reselling is crazy. I've seen it on TikTok. I don't really know how, but people are taking out loans to either resell it or hopefully unbox it to get a super rare card, and then they'll make a whole bunch of money, which is just borderline gambling. The argument here is that he's got a broken down car and he's still spending money on the cards. There was a Dave Ramsey clip where he was about to get divorced with his wife because he went behind her back and took out $25,000 in the bank to buy Pokemon cards. Like, I think it's pretty straightforward, and I don't need to tell you, not the best idea. But in the same way that nobody takes gambling and gambling addiction seriously, especially online, we see the same type of comments. You hit that Moonbryon in a PSA 10, he's definitely getting a used car. Same thing, it's just an unbelievably rare and then mint Pokemon card, and then you'll make a whole ton of money. Virtually impossible of that actually happening. He needs to catch a new girlfriend. Trust me, my next pack will be a god pack. Like, here we have one that's a quick clip. I'm bored. Tell me the biggest regret you spend money on. Not talking about an $8 latte at a fancy coffee place, like a big thing you regret. And some of these get pretty crazy. A master's degree, $40,000 and haven't needed it. Another person with schooling. Red aspen nails, I dropped easily $200 on them and I cannot get them to work. What is that? I don't know. Looking at it now, it just looks like press-on nails that I guess are incredibly expensive and they didn't even work for this person. A thermonics, a Peloton, a coffee machine, gym set, the list goes on. My Ford Everest, $2,400 a month bill, could have gone with something cheaper. Yeah, you think? I accidentally spent $70 on an alarm clock subscription that made you do a math problem to turn it off. My Peloton bike, another person. They're thousands of dollars too, by the way. I hate that thing and I got it during COVID, so I waited like 3 months for it and almost paid $3,000 with all the accessories, and now it's useless. I took my son for Easter Bunny pictures yesterday and they charged her $46 for a photo. Okay then. No wonder why I've seen a whole bunch of TikToks of people showing that the Easter Bunny is just sitting there not doing anything. $35,000 Van Cleef bracelet. Could have bought a car. Yeah. On my second channel too, we went over a person who paid $6,500 for one of those bracelets from the same company and it started rusting almost immediately. My house, which a lot of people do regret, but I'll die here since I have a 3.2% interest rate, way better than anybody else now. Not me, but my sister was prompted to tip after purchasing her wedding dress. She panicked and hit 20%. Oh man. I bought 7 lemonades at Coachella this weekend, which was like $130. $300. Bought $300 of groceries, got into a bad wreck, car was totaled, and went to the hospital via ambulance. All I could worry about was my food I just bought. Peloton, another person. Third person in this comment section alone. Our first house, my master's degree. I mean, the list really does go on and on.
I ordered a $1,400 marble sink from Turkey from Etsy, and it has just arrived. Let's see how it arrived. All right, the guy just dropped it off. Let it not be broken. I got this for the powder room at our new mountain house Airbnb, and I just think it's going to be such a wow factor. It's going to be gorgeous. So stay tuned to see it installed.
We'll look at the comments before I say anything. In an Airbnb, that's going to be ruined with hair dye or makeup in no time. Marble is the single worst stone for a wet room. In an Airbnb, that's what another person said. Then the creator put a comment, disclaimer, this sink was $1,400, but you have to pay an extra $200 for a support bracket and then pay for shipping, so it was $2,100. But girl math, and I used $1,800 in credit card cash back on purchases, so it was only $300. But you still had to spend money to get that cash back. People are still doing Airbnbs this day. $1,400 sink for an Airbnb. That's another huge issue I've seen right now. I'm pretty sure the Airbnb market is imploding now. It's way too expensive. People are not going anymore. And having a $1,400 or $2,100 wow factor isn't going to be the deciding factor if I book the Airbnb or not. It just seems like a waste of money to me. We have another comment from one of you guys. Getting fat was a bad financial decision. The amount of money spent eating out, eating unhealthy, and large portions could have gotten rid of $5,000 of debt. This could add on to the clip earlier in the video with the Doordash, so almost $7,000 with that. So this kind of stuff could cost you a ton of money.
Okay, it's time I tell you about my debt. Drum roll. The big number is $627,528.29. Terrible. So the majority of that are school loans. My own school loans come to $266,427.79. I went to school for 6.5 years, 2.5 were grad school to get my doctorate in physical therapy. And then my husband has $581,378.69 in school loans. He did 8 years of school, 4 undergrad, 4 graduate, 4 chiropractic. So if we total my private loan, my car payment, credit cards, braces, medical debt, the total for that, which is the ultimate goal to really start paying down now, is $91,681.89.
So I'm just going to forget about the extra $90,000 in debt she just talked about. But the $581,000 from her husband and her with $250,000, a little bit more than $250,000 in student debt alone. It's just such an unbelievably high number that I don't know how it could really be worth it. And I know the argument is, oh, they must be a doctor or some sort of lawyer, you know, in that realm of money making. But she did say her husband was in chiropractic, which I remember a while ago. We looked it up in one of my old videos and they made around $130,000, I believe, which is clearly a good amount of money, more than $10,000 a month. But when you have $600,000 looming over you at all times, when you are actually going to have to start paying it back very soon, no more delays with COVID or any of the halts, you're going to have to start paying it back right now. And this is not uncommon. Here's another clip of somebody showing their aid, $491,000 they have to pay back. So I bet we're going to be seeing a lot more of these clips pretty soon online. Here we got another screenshot. Tell me your biggest financial mistakes you've made. Student loans before my frontal lobe developed. I mean, that's a great transition from the last clip. Broke my leg while not having insurance. All in after surgery, I owed $49,000. Married a stranger on TV and it ended up costing me $70,000 in a divorce. And he took all of my personal possessions except my dog. Okay, then. Bought a $70,000 Tahoe with $1,000 monthly payments. I thought that would probably be around $1,200 or $1,300, but still, either way, $70,000 is a ton. Downloading Klarna and Afterpay. My only regret is not saving enough when I had the opportunity to really save. Telling myself it's just $20, it's just $10, it's just $30 multiple times a day, and then wonder where all my money went at the end of the week. Exact same situation as the Starbucks one we talked about and the Doordash one. You don't think it's that much money, but if you do it consistently enough, it adds up to a ton.
What do you guys do with your tax returns? Because usually when we're in a financial position, a lot of people rely on their tax returns.
I filed like ASAP.
Okay, did you get the money?
Mm-hmm.
What did you use it for?
The exact amount that I got was for a loan for a PC.
How much was it?
1,500. I
Got a
think.
loan for that? Is it even good?
I don't know anything about anything. I play Stardew Valley.
Could have got a Switch.
We have
We have a Switch, and I have it on the Xbox as well. Okay, anyways.
So $1,500 for a PC to play Stardew Valley, which is a 2D game. If you've seen what like Pokemon Emerald looks like, it's basically the same graphics. You could play it on Switch, which they had. I don't know if you could play it on the Xbox, but they had multiple consoles. Here's some of the comments. $1,500 for a PC for Stardew Valley. Could have played that on a $300 laptop. And that's not the first time we've seen on this channel that people were renting or taking loans out just to get a PC. Here we have another screenshot asking about people's financial mistakes. I ditched a full ride scholarship to pursue dance in LA, only to land at a private university where I befriended Sally Mae and got myself into $80,000 worth of debt. The Canadian government takes 54% of my paycheck. I didn't buy a house in 2008. During the pandemic, I got over $16,000 in unemployment benefits with no bills, and I spent it all on a whole bunch of nothing. How many times have we seen that on this channel? I owed $25,000 on credit cards. I went and got a personal loan and paid all of them off, and then I reused the credit cards owing $25,000 again, plus the personal loan that I originally got to pay for them. What am I supposed to say?
What are some of the worst things you've seen people do with their money?
I've definitely seen people f up their relationships by purchasing.
You need to get some friends like that. Save you some money.
She was visibly upset. Now they say he's clean. However, people are reading into the episode, and I do not want to make an accusation, but he claims that he has to go to a store and buy a new phone charger because he works on the road 3 times a week, which blew everyone's mind.
Was it visas or something that he's buying?
Maybe to continue that potential addiction.
That's crazy. It is basically an addiction. Having your friends to pile up a whole bunch of money to subscribe to. What's the matter with you? And again, that's not as uncommon as you think. This isn't a one-off case. We've seen this multiple times on this channel. Here we have another screenshot of just insane spending. Daughter is napping for 2 hours. Tell me what your monthly expenses amount to. Down for a good laugh. Here's mine. $16,000 a month. Cries in Bay Area around $20,000 a month with 3 kids. Around $2,400 a month. Something reasonable, but I'm absolutely drowning. Around $15,000 for basics, shelter, car, tuition, utilities. $15,000 a month. All in $8,000. I live in a suburb near Cleveland. Too expensive literally anywhere. Our expenses have skyrocketed in the past few years, mostly because we moved to South Florida. Used to be in Minnesota with a tiny mortgage and paid off cars. Now we spend $9,000 a month, not including money towards savings. Here we have one that I thought was pretty funny in the same sort of trend, with just a screenshot asking other people what their experiences are. I'm bored. What kind of car do you drive and what are your payments? Help me feel better about mine. 2024 Honda Odyssey, $1,025 a month. So all I could do is actually screenshot the entire video because she turned off the comments. I bet she got lit up for over $1,000 a month for a minivan, so much so that now we can't see anybody else's experiences and how much they pay. I know that minivans are very efficient and not incredibly expensive unless you get a brand new one. I know they're creeping into the $50,000 range, but getting something used, especially a Honda Odyssey or a Toyota Sienna, will be pretty reliable, so $1,000 a month is probably unnecessary. Much cheaper to get something used. Here we have one of the funny skits talking about just constantly spending money.
Just got my paycheck.
Nice, dude.
Yes, sir. $1,500 now.
Hey, not shabby.
Yep.
And you can save up now.
I know, it's great, especially after I blew $5K on that new PC.
Yeah, not the best financial decision.
Yeah, I should probably save up. You know what I was thinking, though?
What were you thinking?
I was thinking, man, I should buy the new iPhone 16 Pro.
Dude, you have the 15 Pro.
I know I have the 15 Pro, but it's always good to upgrade, you know?
But you don't need to upgrade. You're fine.
Come on. And then think about it. In the future, I won't have to upgrade sooner.
You said that last year when you had the 14 Pro.
I did not. Come on. Did you see they released new AirPods too?
Dude, you bought new AirPods 2 weeks ago.
I know I bought my AirPods 2 weeks ago, but the other ones have good audio quality.
It can't be much better than what you have.
Yeah, it's probably better than the ones I just bought.
I'm sure it's probably not.
Yeah, and think about it. If I trade these in, I can get the other AirPods for like $200.
Bro, that's still a lot of money.
That's a good deal. Just bought the new phone and AirPods.
Hey, hope you're fine being broke.
Well, I was at the Apple store. Guess what?
What?
They had a sale on the iPad
Oh my
mini.
goodness, bro.
I know that this is supposed to be an over-exaggeration for the skit, but people are legitimately like this. And that's just one of the ways that these types of companies, especially with the electronics, where at least now, any of the new tech that's coming out is just slightly better than whatever came out the last year or the last version. It's not like they're jumping leaps and bounds every single year. Some crazy new thing comes out with a phone or iPad, any of the computers. It's just really well marketed, and then you have all the trade-in stuff making it look like it's cheaper than it actually is. When you still paid full price for the last version of the item, but now they got the brand new iPhone, the 16, that I think has Apple Intelligence now. I knew even when they released the phone, it wasn't 100% working. It was promised for future updates. It's just crazy.
Guys, I have a confession to make. Last month's budget completely went off the rails in our house. And when I say it went off the rails, it was a hot mess. We had a lot. It was spring break. We had the Live Like No One Else cruise. There was just a lot going on, and I fell off of my habit of tracking my transactions. And it's like, what's the point of making a category and saying I'm only going to spend this much if you're not tracking the transactions along the way? And so, real talk, I didn't track my transactions from last month until yesterday. They say there's no use crying over spilled milk, and it's true. I mean, once the milk is spilled, you can clean it up, but you wasted the milk. Like, I can't go back and get it. You've got to track transactions. You've got to make it part of your daily habits. This is something, if you can do it every day, do it every day, but at least do it every 2 to 3 days so that you can stay on top of what's going on. Because if I had known the amount that was being spent on restaurants, and if I had known the amount that was being spent on like a lot of odds and ends and Amazon, I would have probably put the kibosh on it a lot earlier.
And so many people don't track any of their expenses, maybe once a month when the entire bill comes to their credit card, especially now. It is so easy to track everything. All the credit cards that we use, the banks that we use have apps that make it super simple. I mean, tons of them have pie charts, so you have specific categories. You can see exactly what you spend every week, every day. And when you don't track it, you have no idea what you're actually spending until the end of the month comes, and then whatever the bill is, you just got to pay it, right? And that's a slippery slope into not being able to pay it off every month and getting into a whole ton of debt. But we're going to finish off this video with, of course, something we can never escape on this channel. We have another course seller.
My worst trade that I made in my day trading, which caused me to lose more than to make, was being really inconsistent with my day trading. The first time I ever traded, I lost a lot of money that I literally quit for 6 months.
So this clip pops up when you just look up bad financial mistakes on TikTok. But in the long and short of it, this person's telling you, you just got to keep going with it. You just got to keep day trading, basically just gambling your money away. And then surprise, surprise, you go over to her page that's called Young Bull Investors, and she's got a whole course set up, you know, free Discord to change your life. Yeah, sure. As soon as you join into it, then there's a whole bunch of paywalls, and then that's where she's actually making her money. So even if you're doing this on your own and looking up bad financial mistakes for yourself, these types of grifters will still pop up online and try to sell you something. It really never ends. But that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. YouTube thinks you'll like this video popping up on screen right now, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, and I'll talk to you guys later.